Okay, looks like we are good to go. Welcome to another Metroid Prime Mentor Randomizer Tournament episode. Today we have TheHammer12 versus mcolyer. And I can hear my own audio. I need to... Okay.
While he fixes that, I am Rico V53, and I am joined in the booth by Soaring Wyvern. On tracking, we have Op82. And I can see that the timer has begun in the race room, so we should be underway shortly.
And I'm back. Fix that. Wonder how much of a delay we have from the race room. And here we go. Zelra says the seed name sounds painful. What do we have?
So, Wyvern, what are you hoping to see in today's race?
There is a lot of very interesting logic that we could see. I would really like to see some stuff that
Well, right off the bat, we have our runners setting up for a trick commonly known as space jump first, in which they exploit the game's bad physics to rocket themselves into alcove via the scan visor. And it looks like we have a vanilla space jump. I feel like we've been seeing that a lot in this tournament. There's not much divergence here for the runners because with only space jump, they really only have one way forward, and that's into the front area of Chozo. There's not a lot that space jump really opens up without either morph ball or missile launcher.
not getting early missiles here in Talon always is kind of annoying because then you have to decide when to come back and check hens. Was that morph ball on ledge? Grapple ledge?
I thought it was spider ball.
Yeah, that was either morph or boost.
Okay, that is missile expansion, so that is not our logical missile launcher.
Oh, what is Hammer doing here? Oh, climbing up to do the R jump, it looks like. Very nice.
No,
and
that was morph ball. So logically, what does that check require, Wyvern?
I believe it requires either space jump and grapple to be logical, or just grapple. Because you can do it without space jump. I'm not sure.
And there is a power bomb expansion in Upper Ruin Shrine. Another missile expansion, so still no logical launcher, but that power bomb expansion will let Hammers check this out of logic, and he is rewarded with an E-Tank.
That'll be handy if he has to check Watery Hall without a suit.
Oh, where was grapple? I completely missed that. mcolyer has it.
If I had to guess, it's probably up on Vault Ledge. Or yeah.
Yep, there it is. I can see it on Hammer screen. So then, yeah, the logic is space jump into grapple into morph ball.
Hammer opted not to go in and peek what's in vault, probably intends to go all the way through. Flamethrower in nursery. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I see in chat we've got a person asking for a missile launcher to be made a different color so it stands out. That's kind of one thing that's nice about Echoes. The missile launcher visually looks different from your missile expansions. It
Unless
just
you're playing
uses
multi-world with Prime Player.
True, but normally it just uses the missile expansion from Prime as its overworld model.
So we've got bombs on Hive Mecha, which means if they did go through and check Vault, they could get it now if there's something in there. But they're turning around. Probably Gallery Tunnel?
Because it's right there. That makes sense to me, but then again, I'm an Echoes runner, not a Prime runner, so... And I don't know if Missile Launcher can be shiny. That would be interesting.
So Hammer's not going to check Vault.
So, for those of you unaware, as a little bit of an Easter egg, the Randomizer has the ability to randomly change the color of a missile expansion so that it's blue. It's a little nod to the shiny Pokemon mechanic. It doesn't change anything about the missile expansion except it makes it look different.
And it changes the text to say that you picked up a shiny missile expansion. Launcher could very well be Vault. I don't think the missiles were required at all to get to where bombs were.
Oh, and looks like mcolyer has triggered Hive Totem.
Now with Space Jump, mcolyer could jump to the door and leave, and walk to the previous door and just come back and never have to deal with Hive Mecha again.
Could you still pick up the item if you do that?
Yeah.
There is Ice Beam. So finding Ice Beam like right outside Watery Hall, what does that say to you about Logic Wyvern?
To me, I would be thinking that I probably need to go do Frigate Climb as soon as possible. If you really wanted to, though, you could, because you have more fall bombs, so you could get through to Furnace and use the Ice Beam door to get the item in Hall of Elders. But, I mean, that's a lot of effort, and I feel like that'd be a pretty aggressive check for what would be a dead end. Yeah, I would probably agree with Baja here and go for a save warp. Yeah, the anti-chamber check from Hall of Elders side would require you to have Wave Beam, though. So the Frigate Climb is going to take you to anti-chamber. But yeah, either way, I think going to check Antechamber and Overgrown Cavern are good plays.
Okay, so that is just a missile expansion under the poison, so Hammer's not going to bother going for that.
Well, McCollier's going to go through the vault here in a second, so we will get to see what it is. And
And
Hammer
it
with
looks like
save warp.
Hammer is save warping back to check Frigate Climb.
Also, I wouldn't be surprised to see hints being grabbed right here too.
That is a suit, that is not missile launcher.
Which suit was it?
I couldn't see the color. Looks like Hammer is going for hints, so we should probably pay attention to that.
I think that's Varia. I saw a hint of green. Yep, that is indeed Varia's suit in vault. So Hammer might actually get punished for going. But if Hammer does Frigate Climb, it's going to take them back to Chozo. So they still have a chance to route in decent time through vault. As long as going to Far Chozo gives some kind of progression, I think that it's not really time lost to go that way.
So, with Grapple Beam, Variasuit, and that PBE, it looks like McCoyer might. I apologize for mispronouncing your name every single time. But it looks like they are going to Magma Pool. And I looked away and did not see where the artifacts were.
We have a PCA artifact.
It's just an E-Tank in Magma Pool, so McCoyer is not rewarded for this. Thank you, Baja.
What is OGC?
Overgrown Cavern.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Hammer's about to walk right into it. The Hammer's opting to do this the hard way, it looks like. The Collier just now getting Ice Beam. I wonder if they will opt to warp back to start as well.
Wyvern, you should probably apologize to these runners for bringing your OP curse.
Yeah. I was involved, so OP's required. Sorry, guys. Although I seem to not be the only one cursed with that for this particular tournament. Omega Pirate is showing up a lot.
So, a little bit of advice for mcolyer if you're watching this back. You actually move faster when you have the L button held down. So it will pay off in the long run to learn how to turn using the R button.
Yeah, so if you're holding L while Samus is walking on the ground, you will move a little bit faster. And if you want to release L to turn, it's best to do a jump first so that you can turn while in the air and still having forward momentum. It's a good thing to practice. Yeah, acceleration. It'll increase your acceleration. But since you're changing directions quite often, it kind of increases your speed.
Looks like mcolyer is opting to check Zoid before they leave Chozo. And for anyone who may not know, the reason Incinerator Drone is referred to as Zoid is in honor of one of the devs of this game who goes by that alias. So just a missile behind Zoid.
So the frigate climb didn't really pay off for Hammer. Hammer now has to go and get their Varia suit from Vault. Hopefully they don't forget to check Vault. Because we still have Crossway and Furnace. But Furnace was in logic from the other side without Ice Beam.
And Hammer making that standable look easy. You know what? I don't play Prime. Wyvern, is that standable easy?
When you're first learning it, it can be a little slippery. Once you get it down, it's not too hard to do on repeat, but yeah.
There is Super Missile at Zoid. That is good for mcolyer, because who knows when Hammer's coming back for that.
Also, did either of them geek the tree?
I don't think I saw them do it.
There's a nothing in Crossway. I thought Hammer was going to forget to peek upper furnace there for a second.
We've got a high five from the runners here.
So at this point, I think mcolyer has 2 jacks left in Chozo, so they can peak upper furnace, go to Hall of Elders, get the ice beam check. But beyond that, I think mcolyer's move then is probably to go to Magmore, and Hammer still hasn't found Varia. Is about to get supers, so that's good for Hammer. But after this, Hammer, having not been to Root Cave, is going to have to decide between Vault or Root Cave. Like, clearly the decision is to go check Vault first, but I wonder which check is weighing more heavily on their mind. If it were me, and I had missiles and went to Talon and didn't check for the bridge under Root Cave, what is that, Transport Tunnel B? If I hadn't checked that, I would be thinking, oh man, there's something there. Did Hammer use the Ice Beam to do the Hall of Elders check?
Yes, it was an E-Tank.
There is a lot of health in this seed. Having a little picnic here in Chozo. Yeah, so I didn't think about Flagra. Hammer would have gone up to Flagra and used that as a hallway to go to Vault, which might have been optimal.
If they know the early wild infinite bomb jump, it definitely would have been worth it because you could have gotten those 2 jacks.
I don't think we have seen Wave Beam yet.
The beetle blocked the super missile. And there is just another missile expansion. I still don't believe that missile launcher has shown up.
That beetle straight up tackled Samus to save the tree from the super missile. Oh, okay, so we had a turnaround here on Hammer's side. They were going to go down the elevator, but they have decided not to.
I think they remembered Vault.
In Crossway, I believe that item was a nothing. It seems at this point that Ice isn't pointing toward anything in Chozo.
Hammer is going to pick up that Varia and probably follow that into Magmore.
I think that they were thinking about going to Root Cave right there because they were heading toward the Talon elevator and then barely remembered that they hadn't gotten Vault. Ice Beam isn't in Logic without Launcher, but it's kind of obvious that Launcher itself is in Logic. So if you have that knowledge, you can kind of just pretend you've picked up Launcher and play the logic out.
There are no RAs on this race. So, was there a missile under the ship? Because I don't think Hammer got that when they warped back, unless I just wasn't paying attention and missed that.
That's true, Baja, yeah.
Okay, Wave Buster under the ship.
Yeah, Missile Launcher is probably the item in Transport Tunnel. Nope, it's Plasma Beam. No, wait. Is that where mcolyer is right now, Transport Tunnel? Yeah. Plasma Beam in Transport Tunnel, which mcolyer just picked up.
Okay, that is kind of interesting. So, with grapple... Oh, no X-ray, so it would not be pointing to the top of Root Cave.
It could be. I mean, personally, I would check it anyway. Because you have... That check is like 3/4 in Logic. You're missing one item. So if the assumption is that, you know, it could be in the next couple items collected, it's typically better to check it while you're there.
And there is Wave Beam. So, 26 minutes in, we know where all of our beams are.
And that wave beam's not particularly hidden, so mcolyer's gonna have all beams before Hammer. I say that, but they could decide not to go to Triclops Pit right now.
Looks like mcolyer was just a little short on that combat dash.
It's typically better to do this dash from the highest monitor, too. It looks like they're doing it from the lowest one. There's like 3 tiers to that pile of computer monitors there that you can jump on. And we don't know that Hammer has abandoned Plasma yet. They could check this transport tunnel item and then turn around, but I would say that is probably not very likely. What would be interesting
And
is,
it looks like they're continuing on to Fen.
yeah, if mcolyer doesn't go to Triclops Fen, if mcolyer goes to Fen and Hammer goes to Fen, then what we have is mcolyer missed Wave Beam and Hammer missed Plasma Beam, and we just have a very confusing mess to untangle at that point. I think that Hammer is in a tight spot because the only thing that would logically point you back to Root Cave at this point is either Plasma Beam to do the upper item check, or X-Ray Visor to just let you know that the invisible platforms are in logic. Otherwise, it would just be Hammer runs out of checks and checks their map and realizes, oh, I didn't check transport tunnel.
And it looks like mcolyer is about to pick up that Wave Beam.
Yeah, mcolyer did do the good thing and check Triclops bit. So that's pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have continued on to Fen seeing that Plasma Beam.
I mean,
I think if I was in mcolyer's shoes, I would have missed this Wave Beam.
yeah, and that's perfectly logical because it does point you to Fen. Zelrus, there are in fact peaks for, I think, all of the plasma checks have been.
You know, the music for Fen is just very, very soothing.
Yeah. I find that I enjoy the music in Fen probably more than the Chozo music. Oh, that is Gravity
It's a little
Suit.
jarring when you remember all of the horrible things that live there.
Hammer has found Gravity Suit in Vendrana Canyon. Yeah, Zelrus. So that artifact that is under the frozen statue, if you stand in the corner at the right angle looking at the wall and fire a super missile, it will push your screen backwards just enough that it clips through the wall and you can see what the item is. Hammer might even be forced to do that, having not picked up Plasma Beam yet. I would hope that before the logic starts to point Hammer towards Crashed Frigate, that they route through and get that Plasma Beam. If we go on a Plasma hunt to Crashed Frigate, that would be Pretty sad.
Well, that depends on when thermal shows up.
That's true. Need that thermal to bring Frigate into logic.
So it's so when Hammer goes back to Talon is probably going to be determined by when he picks up a visor, and depending on which visor that is, it's going to lead him in a different direction.
Looks like Ice Ruins West holds a nothing. Now, if we don't have too many plasma locked items, which unfortunately one of our artifacts is plasma locked, that actually, if Hammer manages to route into plasma, it doesn't set them back too far because the plasma beam is right next to ship. So if they take a warp to start for any reason and then happen into
There is
plasma
boost
beam,
ball.
then it's not that bad.
So picking up boost ball right here, where does that point you? Into what's it called? Observatory?
I think at this point the only thing Boost Ball tells me is that, yeah, Observatory is logical, so you can go all the way through labs. Having Ice Beam probably makes that the most attractive move, because you can just do the full labs loop. You've got your super missiles to do Lab Hydra. You can just knock it completely out and never have to look back. Although, control tower item is not logical without plasma, but I don't think anyone in this tournament has used plasma to get control tower at all. So it will probably still get checked. Hey, what about missile launcher on Artis?
Is that even possible? Can you get to Thardis without having missiles?
Maybe through the back? No, you can't, because labs requires... Well, wait, can you go through the Magmore elevator? I think you can. Theoretically, you could go all the way through Magmore to Workstation, up the Workstation elevator, and fight Thardis. Surely at least one of our artifacts is missile locked.
Well, Baja Artifact Temple is itself missile locked. So even if the artifacts aren't, you still need missiles to get into the temple.
Very true.
Is it possible for missile launcher to be in tower chamber?
Tower chamber. You mean the one that's under Tower of Light?
Correct.
Yeah, because you can't get to Ruined Shrine without missiles, because the door to Ruined Shrine is a missile door.
Ah. Looks like Hammer is struggling a bit with the observatory dashes. And just as I say that, they get it. You know what? Maybe I should just stop talking about this.
you're you're cursing them. Hammer seems to be trying to get a speedy dash rather than focusing on getting the height off the dash. You do need a decent dash to do this trick, but you really gotta... It's more important to time your space jump well enough to get the height. What is... Oh, is Hammer falling trying to get the item?
No, I think they're coming up on the other side instead of the one with the door forward, the door with the side with the save station.
Oh, okay. If that's the case, then Hammer, if you watch this back, there's a bomb slot right across the room from where you land. When you jump up to the uppermost platform, you can dash to your left off of that bomb slot and get to the exit.
Sometimes it is better just to give up on a trick that you're not confident with and just do the puzzle. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think Hammer made the right choice there. If you're not confident in your execution, you'll just lose more time by overcommitting to it.
Yeah. And like that trick is a huge time save. But, like you said, if you feel like you're going to have to do it 3 or 4 more times before you get it, yeah, solving the puzzle is perfectly viable. Oh yeah, Zelrus, that's true. Yeah, the last race that Hammer had, he spent a lot of time trying to do a trick to get an item that was out of logic. And it looks like he may have considered that this time.
It also looks like he accidentally triggered the pirate fight, so gotta shoot the pirates out of the sky.
Yeah, but yeah, the space pirates, they were being a nuisance. They deserved it.
So this check is technically plasma lock, but you, as Hammer demonstrated, can just jump over the fence and shoot a missile.
Opted to not even pick up the missile. That could have been missile launch. No, it couldn't.
Is it possible to get to Flogra without missiles? Is there any possible way that Flogra could be our logical missile launcher?
No, because you either have to have super missiles to get in from the back door, or regular missiles to get through to the front. What is that? Ice spreader? Good to have. We like to have that for the exo fight.
And we have both runners currently in labs.
Oh, Baja says launcher's already been found. Ice ruins east behind ice.
Oh, that is incredible.
That really is. I think that's the latest launcher I've ever seen.
So, logic required you to go all the way through Magmore to take the elevator up into Root Cave. To grab plasma, then go back down into Magmore into Fen and melt the ice around Missile Launcher.
My goodness, you are correct. That is just not right.
What was that in Upper Gravity Chamber? I didn't get a good look.
I was watching mcolyer, I didn't see either. Baja says it was Spider Ball.
Oh, so that Spider Ball is plasma locked, which Hammer does not have. Are you aware if they know the slope jump?
I'm pretty sure they know it exists, but I don't know if they know the execution. It looks like they don't, as they are leaving it behind.
Looks like mcolyer is not even attempting to do the dash, which, once again, if you are not confident in a trick, it's probably best not to waste time attempting it.
There aren't too many checks left in Fen before Hammer realizes they've forgotten something. And hopefully that doesn't lead them through Frigate instead of through Root Cave.
Well, what does Frigate from the back require?
Well, first off, in this case, I think it would require you to do bar skip. Because Hammer not having Spider Ball, they can't get to upper mines from the bottom through the Magmore elevator. As far as logic goes, they would need at least Spider Ball to be able to get to the backside of it. Spider Ball isn't required as far as we know, unless you need it for Phazon suit. I don't think any of the artifacts were spider locked.
Yes, because they have to go through OP.
Well, yes, that's true. For logic, the Spider Ball is going to be required to get through Metroid Quarantine A, and anyone in their right mind is going to prefer to use Spider Ball instead of an R jump to get through there.
There is main PBs. So main PBs logically gravity locked.
Yeah, I think in this logic, that's gravity and grapple.
Oh,
It's not a
I did
very
not know that.
difficult. It's not a very difficult jump to slope jump out of there. But as far as the gravity logic goes, I am not really sure what's what.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't listen to Mr. Gravity just makes this game harder on gravity logic.
I mean, just because I play without gravity suit doesn't mean I don't acknowledge that it makes you move faster. There are tricks to get around pretty much every instance of Spider Ball requirement that I can think of, but a handful of them are ridiculously difficult, Zelrus. Well, I guess, so there's a couple Spider Ball tracks in mines that are really, really hard to go up without Spider Ball. But if you can get to that point from the bottom, you could probably also turn around and just come down from the top. So if you consider backtracking a trick, then yeah, I think you can get around most instances of Spider Ball with tricks.
Looks like Hammer is moving towards Thardis.
Yeah, the upper dynamo one's kind of tricky because it requires out of bounds and clipping through a wall. Zelrus Spring Ball is not enabled. Oh, Lighthouse. Yep, forgot Lighthouse exists. That's a real bad one. Unless, speaking of Spring Ball, unless you have that turned on.
mcolyer spotting those main PBs. And as they have Plasma Beam, they will be able to grab Spider on their first path through gravity. So Thardis is technically not in logic yet, as Thermal has not shown up.
Yeah, and with this main power bomb collection, mcolyer's pretty set to start artifact hunting because they can get to PCA now. Assuming they grab the Spider Ball.
Well, they still need X-Ray to collect that last artifact, but you probably just hope you run into that on the way.
Oh, yeah, because you have to kill OP to get to PCA. So, yeah, there is, in fact, one more required item.
And then, depending on how confident they are with final bosses, they may want to find Thermal.
Yeah, my opinion on visors for Metroid Prime Essence is you can skip one, but if you skip two, you might be just putting yourself in for a really bad time. You can't really, if it goes into X-ray phase and you have no idea where it is, you could be setting yourself up for a pool skip and not even know it. And then when it goes to thermal phase and doesn't make a pool, like unless you hear the sound, you don't even know that you just got pool skip. Phazon suit on Thardus, that'd be pretty convenient for Hammer right now.
So logically, Thardus requires thermal visor because the game expects you to pull up the visor to see the weak points. But as Hammer's been doing, you can reveal those weak points by detonating morph ball bombs as Thardus rolls past you.
That also works with power bombs, and you can hit it with boost ball while it's rolling around and break those as well. That's really, really, really hard to do, and I don't think anyone uses that as a viable strategy.
I was not aware of that last one.
I've only ever done it on accident.
So it's basically like killing Bomb Guardian and Echoes with boost ball. You can do it, but why would you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Zoris, you can manually aim. The problem with manually aiming is that while there is a specific order to which nodes are going to appear next, you have to know the order. It's salty about Hammer skipping that missile, are you?
Oh my god, Phazon suit on Thardus!
Wow! That was called in chat. Fantastic.
So in mcolyer's spot, do you think they continue on through Thardus, or they just go start hunting artifacts once they pick up the spider ball?
From the position mcolyer is in, because mcolyer's still hunting X-ray, so if it were me, I would be routing through artifacts, trying to grab as many as I can before having to go to PCA. But since it is an X-ray hunt, there's really no harm in full clearing areas like this. So I would say there's a decently like 50-50 chance that mcolyer does go check Thardus. And I would 100% agree with that, because you have two required items that you're looking for right now, and they can be literally anywhere. Yeah, like Delta Toast said, I think being thorough here is going to be the best plan of action.
The other thing, though, is that without thermal, Thardus technically isn't in logic, so it may not be thinking that that's where progression lies.
While that is true, unless thermal is locked by X-ray visor somehow, or spider ball, I guess. mcolyer hasn't picked it up yet, but I think they're about to. Then you can do, like I was saying earlier, you can assume that since it has to be in logic, that you can go ahead and do those thermal checks and just hope you run into thermal. It's kind of, things can be kind of like pseudo-logical.
Oh, and Hammer is about to stumble into that plasma beam. Shame they didn't go and do the low check first.
Yeah, if they do the out of bounds here, which is likely that they will. That's gonna be a facepalm moment. Oh. Okay, check under the bridge. Yes,
That kind of worked out for them.
indeed. Now is a beeline to Spider-Ball.
Probably. Speaking of Spider-Ball. Wait, is mcolyer going for the slope jump instead of just shooting the grapple point?
It looks like it. Now, mcolyer has everything they need to grab that item the logical way. Or the vanilla way, rather. Which is, in fact, in these settings, the logical way. Maybe they just realized that because they were looking at the icicle. Did they forget you have to shoot the icicle?
There it is. So that grapple point only exists on this layer, right?
It only exists. I think what you said is technically true. If you shoot the ice and then leave the room and it reloads, that grapple point will be gone the next time you load the room. So yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Otherwise, the jump is your only option. So Hammer catching up real fast here with mcolyer. Since they are both in Fen, and it looks like mcolyer, if mcolyer goes into Thardus and is in the Thardus fight when Hammer grabs Spider-Ball, then they're essentially neck and neck again, with the exception of Hammer having a 1 artifact lead.
Yeah. Hammer's movement appears to be a lot more optimized than mcolyer's, and over the course of a seed, that can add up.
Absolutely. I start ignoring missiles after I have 50 unless I can literally walk through them, so I don't really judge Hammer for skipping the missiles. Baha, you can judge all you want. You rolled the seed.
And it looks like mcolyer is not fighting Thardus.
Yeah, that is a major deficit to mcolyer's side. Now maybe they're just grabbing a save here first.
Oh,
Baha is correct. X-ray is currently the deciding factor here. Unless Hammer can do MQB to PCA.
Hammer is warping to ship. I mean, not Hammer, mcolyer. It's been a long day. You know, I was just thinking, has mcolyer gone back for artifact hints yet?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's blue on their map. mcolyer has not stepped foot in Artifact Temple yet. So their thought process, which is entirely like legit, is probably to grab artifact hints and go artifact hunting to get the Phazon suit hint. They don't
They're
know
not going to be
that
happy when they
X-rays
find out
required
how.
yet.
They're not going to be happy when they find out how close they were to it before doing this.
Oh, that's yeah. Phazon suit is on Thardis. I think at this point, Chozo Ruins is pretty empty. They've all but cleared out Fen. Now, there are some Spider Ball checks to do in Chozo, which, Spider being the most recently collected item, is the most interesting. So, I mean, you could do that, but it seems to me that heading to following the artifacts through some check-dense areas is probably a good idea. Yeah, Thardis specifically has cost me a couple of races because I went into that thought process of, oh, it can't be Thardis. And I skipped it, and it was Thardis. There's tons of ammo drops in mines. It's fine. This room alone will probably drop a good 20. Oop, there's the
Oh,
down.
missed the platform.
If we didn't already know that PCA was an artifact, I'd recommend just running and checking PCA real quick. That usually makes the down worth it.
Looks like mcolyer is attempting the same frigate climb that Hammer did.
That seems to be a popular one. There is an easier frigate climb that only requires space jumps to some standables from the other side of the door. It's really hard to describe in words, though. Essentially, you jump off a rock onto a broken piece of the frigate, space jump further up the frigate, and then space jump over to the platform below the ice door.
I was tempted to make a joke about mcolyer ignoring rocks, but that would be in very poor taste. And honestly, I don't think they made that from where their mindset is. I don't think they made that big a mistake in not checking Thardis, because once again, they're not thinking it's in logic yet because they don't have that visor.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah, I think I said before that like not knowing that Phazon suit is on Thardis, I agree with the decision that mcolyer made to come back to it later. Because there's just so many checks available right now. Mines hasn't even been stepped in yet, and then you have spider checks in Chozo, which one of them has been peaked, but this might be the play to life growth for mcolyer, actually. Now, we haven't seen life grove either. Vanilla X-ray would be interesting.
I would hate that.
Based on Hammer's current position, that would give mcolyer an edge. This seed has been so unvanilla, other than the space jump start, that I think it deserves another vanilla item. We could forgive that.
Well, there is X-ray. That is really good for Hammer. They are now in go mode.
And that means that the only item mcolyer could run into up here is thermal visor.
Which could potentially point them back to Thardus, so... I mean, probably not, because at this point, mcolyer's probably just doing artifact cleanup and hoping to run into it along the way. But then again, they are going to life growth, so maybe not. I don't believe there is an artifact up here.
No, there's not a life grove artifact. I mean, overall, despite, Hammer has a pretty good lead now, but mcolyer didn't make any terrible decisions that really cost them the race, aside from the not checking Thardus.
And in hindsight, with all the knowledge that we have watching this, we know that that's a mistake, but they don't necessarily know that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that's a hindsight statement. It's tough, because Thardus was not logical at the time.
And mcolyer is struggling with the worst half pipe in either Metroid Prime game.
Yeah, you want to be careful with this to not be too close to that back wall, and it's really hard to stay right in the middle, but that back side of this tunnel is really grabby.
Hammer not even bothering to fight the cloaked drone.
The only thing stopping mcolyer from being in go mode is X-ray visor, though, so the assumption that they were either in or almost in go mode was a pretty good one. Oh, that's true, Baja. Since they didn't know X-ray was required. That does kind of save them, though, except for the fact that they didn't end up finding X-ray. Because if they had been full clearing and ran into X-ray, then in hindsight, they'd have been like, oh, that's forgivable. mcolyer are bending their jumps to the right. Very interesting. Very often I see people bend their jumps to the left, especially on that one, so interesting technique. I always bend my R jumps to the left, but I'm left-handed. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Right for our jump?
It's a right jump, not a left jump.
Okay, looks like mcolyer is abandoning bar skip. I was about to say that I don't agree with that play.
Knowing what we know, probably wouldn't have been a bad play. Because if they went to main quarry and took the grapple beam across to ore processing, they'd have X-ray visor in like 4 rooms.
Ah, that's fair. I was thinking that was a play to get into frigate.
And it could have been. Hammer is out of missiles.
Well, they are near a missile station, though, correct?
I do believe that the room on their left here is a missile station. Or that's not this room. That's the next fungal hall. And 1 power bomb. Just enough to get in here.
Looks like mcolyer has elected to clear out Chozo.
And Hammer is skipping that ammo station.
And it looks like they're going back for it.
Yeah, probably a good call. You want to have those missiles for OP.
Or just in general.
You've got plasma. What do you need missiles for?
Hey, this is the game that lets you fire like 30 missiles per second. You should take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's true, chat. PB refills at ammo stations as well.
And that is true, Baja. Neither runner has elected to pick up the most important beam combo yet.
Yeah, that flamethrower for when you don't have super missiles at
It's
Exo.
Wave Buster, so they could go kill Flagra. I mean, that's obviously why neither runner has done the plant yet.
Doesn't that take like 220 missiles or something?
Yeah, it takes a ridiculous amount. Oh my god, thermal outside of OP.
MQB thermal visor. This logic has been whack the whole time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, knowing all that we do about this seed, we know that none of what mcolyer is doing is going to pan out for them, unfortunately.
With Hammer needing, well, one more artifact after this. Yeah, it's looking like Hammer's got a decent enough lead.
So, Wyvern, you want to explain a bit about how OP works?
Sure. Though it looks like Hammer has been seen. So typically the strategy here for Omega Pirate is to start the fight from off kilter, diagonal, or beside him so that you can stay out of his direct line of sight. If you do that, he will just rotate in a circle while you shoot his weak points with missiles or whatever beam of choice. And then he'll go into this pool phase where he becomes invisible, and he'll always go to whatever pool is furthest from your location. From there, you have a couple choices. You can super missile, which it looks like Hammer is going to use the super missile method. If you're timing it well, 4 super missiles will kill Omega Pirate in the first damage round. The other option is Plasma Beam, but that's a lot harder because you have to hit him in each pool with 2 fully charged plasma shots without hitting him with any uncharged plasma shots. It's very difficult to time. The super missile method, as you can see, fairly reliable.
That was a beautiful one cycle.
Very good.
I didn't think they were going to get that last one in.
It was close. I saw that shoulder piece appearing as that missile landed.
You can also use power bombs to skip some of the spawns in that, correct?
True. With a very specifically timed power bomb, you can interrupt. I don't know the mechanics specifically, but you're interrupting his animation in such a way that he teleports away before summoning his helpers. So you won't have any powered pirates during that fight or during that first phase of damage phase if you do that. It's pretty hard to do, but if you have the power bombs to spare, it's worth an attempt.
And it looks like mcolyer is opting to go check Flagra. Now, this is 2 checks, so I could see why they would want to be doing this. So, I'm not saying like this is a mistake or anything. It's just unfortunate given what we know that this isn't going to end up rewarding them.
Be interesting to see what specifically Flagra has. We have no beam combos on McCollier's side. Well, wait, doesn't McCollier have super missiles?
Yes. So you want to explain what exactly mcolyer is doing here?
Yeah, so the each of these rocks that mcolyer is blowing up has a morph ball bomb slot inside of it, and for some reason, power bomb will hit these because these aren't true morph ball bomb slots. There's two different ways you can break them. And that's you can either go into the slot as intended and lay a morph ball bomb, or you can get close to it on the outside and lay a morph ball bomb or power bomb for some reason. And if you do that, even if the fight hasn't started, the state of Flagra itself still progresses. So whenever you actually trigger the fight, as you just saw, the cutscene was skipped, but the fight starts, Flagra dies. The interesting thing about that confuses me is that if you trigger the fight with Flagra, there's a cutscene that you have to trigger before those morph ball bomb slots can be damaged, which is you have to shoot the first panel, and then it does the cutscene where Flagra falls over when you bomb the first slot. Then you can space jump to them and damage them from the outside. Though what's interesting is you cannot do that if you trigger the fight and you don't trigger that cutscene. So there's just a weird little tidbit for you.
So mcolyer, another little tip for you if you're watching this back. I believe you do not have to go all the way down that spider track. I think you only have to pass by that third little rung in the wall.
Really? I always go all the way down. But Baja confirms that you're right. Look at you, knowing things I don't know.
It's rare in this game. What is Hammer's last artifact?
I think Hammer already picked it up. It should have been training chamber access. Yeah, the tracker says 5. It's probably just lagging.
Yep, tracker now says 6.
Yeah, Op says the tracker ate the input. It likes to do that. I don't think boost counts as an artifact. It's not required to kill Ridley. Phazon suit's
It's just
basically an
nice.
extra artifact, though.
Ugh, Hammer giving me a little
Making me
motion
dizzy.
sickness.
Yeah. Hammer did not opt to draw Ridley into a corner.
So what Hammer just did there is exploit a little bit of a programming oversight. For whatever reason, the devs did not give Ridley's flying form immunity to boost ball damage. So hitting him with Boost Ball when he lands does a ridiculously high amount of damage and essentially brings him immediately down to his grounded stage.
I wonder if the only reason it doesn't just flat out defeat Ridley is because that stage is damage capped.
Or they actually remembered to give this stage immunity.
But the only point on Ridley in this stage that has a hitbox is the chest when it's glowing. So if you wanted to hit that with Boost Ball, I mean, you'd have to be like a Boost Ball god.
And Ulti in chat confirms that it is damage capped.
And to answer Zelrus's question, yes, you can put in more artifacts than are required, and you only need to collect a certain number of them to trigger the Ridley fight, if you do so.
A very solid Ridley fight from Hammer. Looked like Ridley was mostly behaving, which is... it's kind of rare in this tournament. Most of the races I've watched, Ridley just charges like nobody's business.
On top of that, that was a very nice climb there in the dentist office.
Yeah, that Metroid made me a little nervous there. It looked like he was going to knock him out of his jump at the last second.
Thermal was in Metroid Quarantine B.
I always forget you could do that, what mcolyer just did, and freeze the flamethrowers in Magmore.
Yeah, you can. When you have a suit and a bunch of E, it's worth just walking through them for time's sake. But you can freeze them.
And Hammer landing a snipe. So you have a brief window when Prime charges at you and turns around that you can hit it with the previous beam before it changes to a new beam phase. Oh, nice snipe with the ice spreader.
Yeah, the snipe when it's turning around at the end of its charge is the easier one to land. But if you are standing in the center towards the end of its charge, it does become vulnerable towards the end of that charge. So you can land a hit, charge up another hit, and hit it whenever it turns back around. Getting both is really hard to do because you tend to get hit by the charge if you are trying to get that first hit. But it is entirely possible to land both a beam combo and a charge shot and skip the next phase altogether. No, it can't be hit mid-charge, but it does become vulnerable towards the end of its charge. I guess, yes, technically that is mid-charge, but...
You see, what just happened to Hammer there always annoyed me as a kid, that Prime could deflect your own shots back into you and it would hurt you.
Yeah, that's one of, I think, 2 situations where you can have your beam reflected and it will still hurt you. Actually, no. The other situation I'm thinking of is indoor randomizer. If you bounce your beam off a door, it will hurt you.
I died way more times than I care to admit to my own beam shots as a child.
That probably happened to me too. I just wouldn't have been able to tell you that that was how I died. EXO was a hectic fight for child me.
This looks like it's been a fairly cooperative subchamber 4. I haven't seen much beam chaos. Oh, there it is. Why do I say things?
That's the second time. But all things considered, this has been a very cooperative subchamber 4. I didn't even realize that he was in subchamber 4 already.
So the first 3 subchambers are very, very scripted, and in subchamber 4, they basically let Prime ad-lib whatever it wants to do. Well, there was a wave stage in the first subchamber because there has to be.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it can rarely do ice in the first phase. There's at least one switch up it can do. It might be that it just does wave first.
So would you like to talk us through what Hammer is doing in Essence, Wyvern?
Absolutely. So, Hammer is shooting Essence in the face to... Well, sorry. Let me rephrase that. So, they're pulsating their shots to essentially skip certain animations that Essence is doing. Animation isn't the right word, but essentially each time you shoot it, it does an animation, and at the end of that animation, it will start doing an action. You can cancel that action by starting the damage animation again. And if you keep using that animation to interrupt the actions, eventually it will force Essence to make a new pool while the old pool is still active. So done right, you get to empty the pool you're currently standing in, step into the new one, and wash, rinse, repeat. So right there, you saw Essence started to do that wave crash, and it got canceled by being shot by phase on me, and that's what we're aiming for here. Essence has low enough health here that probably using the pool canceling technique would have been the choice, which is stepping in and out of the pool to enter and exit hyper mode rapidly. I'm not sure of the mechanics specifically why it works, but it does make the pool last a little bit longer, and you do a lot more damage to the health bar of Essence.
And that is game for Hammer. And mcolyer has put in a forfeit.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello and welcome, GG.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, how did you feel about that phase on Suit on Artis?
Oh my god, dude. What a mess that seed was all the way around, honestly. Like, I mean, I kind of flubbed the routing missing that plasma like early on and stuff like that, but still like so lucky just to find that phase-on suit there.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
was
like
going
just
to ask
so
about that
lucky.
plasma.
Yeah. Just a mistake, I should have gone back and looked at it, you know what I mean? But I was like, whatever. I've had so many seeds where there's just nothing there. You know what I mean?
Question: Where was Jason Suit?
Oh, phase on suit
Just
was.
arrived.
You guys let them know.
Phase on Suit was on Thardis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking there was something on Taro that I was like, I'm gonna leave it later for later.
Yeah,
If I keep and run, if I get for some reason last location Taro, I'm not losing.
we were really sad whenever you saved warp back to the ship instead of doing Thardis.
Oh, yeah. It's just I didn't have thermal and I wasn't not on the mood to doing a Tardis.
Yeah, can we talk about that logic chain for just a
Oh,
second right now? Can we talk about this? Like,
I would
it's
really like you to,
ridiculous.
yes.
It
Yes.
was. I mean, so what was the real logic chain there? I mean, to get phase on, so you obviously had to get thermal from deep in mines. Why would it be there? I mean, why in the world is thermal that deep in mines? And also the fact of the matter
Why
that
not?
X-ray. I got in reality like. I had a bad break missing plasma, but I had some really good breaks finding X-ray like in deep mines, and then finding thermal in deep mines, and that kind of just brought the whole thing together at that point. You know what I mean?
I was
So,
just getting into mine, so I was like,
okay, gotcha. Sorry to spoil the whole deal for you when you watch it back, but,
don't worry.
but yeah.
I think the bit of logic that we really do need to talk about is that missile launcher.
I never found it. Where was it?
Oh,
Would you like to tell him?
well, it was on a vault ledge, right? If I remember correctly.
No, it
No.
was in ice ruins.
Your missile launcher was in Ice Ruins East
Was it
behind the
really?
ice.
Maybe
Yeah.
I did get it, but I was
It was
like, "Ah,
plasma
missile."
locked.
I probably did get it, but didn't.
Really?
Yeah, I actually got ice first. Then I got plasma. Went into
Yeah.
Fenrana, and then where was Wave?
Wave was in Triclops pit. Or storage cavern behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it was like I had all the beams of like. It was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, no.
But I
I
was-
mean, you do them in
So-
order, and the beams come really quick.
I was
like, yeah.
thinking of okay, clear Choso, clear Fenrana except for Tarlos, and go face on mines and hope for the best.
So the game expected you to grab bombs, go through Vault, pick up Variasuit, go down to Magmor, go the entirety through Magmar, up the second elevator into Root Cave to grab Plasma, to then go into Fen to get to Ice Ruins East to melt the ice on your missile launcher.
Oh my god. That is brutal. Oh my goodness, man. Goodness gracious.
Wow. I had another seed that was something like my last race I was go get space jump from where missile launcher is. I forgot the name of the room. Then go back, get more ball, go back to Choso, go back to Talon Overworld. A ton of backtracking.
It really was. Yeah, I mean, if you'd done everything in logical order, it was a real mess of a seed. It really was. But yeah.
in correct order, that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean that would have been what? It had to be at least like a 2 and 15, like 2.5 almost. Like it would have taken forever. Like good lord.
Yeah.
That was
And
the
really-
thing was when I found that plasma, I was like, oh, I'm in so much trouble. But then when I found X-ray like deep in mines and then thermal deep in mines, I was like, oh, okay, all right, we're chilling. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I usually try to avoid deep mines without at least a suit
Yeah.
and maybe face on, but it was against my odds today.
The real turning point here was pretty much the phase on suit.
Yeah,
Because honestly, both of you were very close together until Hammer got that phase-on suit and then started picking up momentum towards X-ray visor. If that hadn't happened and the both of you had been forced to go on that artifact hunt to get, or that X-ray hunt, I think this could have turned out a much longer seed, but it really would have been anybody's game.
Yeah. I'm
So,
also
mcolyer,
happy. I have. Yeah.
is there any particular reason why you delayed getting hints as long as you did?
I was on getting things done, moving, getting items. So I was like, let's continue. I get things right now. I need to. I was in Fenrana when I was like, should I go back or not? It was like, there was a point where I was like, if I go get hints and then I need to go back. It was,
Well, no, that's true though, because that run through Fen was very much like a, well, I'm here, let's just keep going. You know, it kind of kept
Keep
opening
going,
stuff
yeah.
up. It kind of kept
I
opening
actually
up
went
stuff
on-
for you. So
I
that's
got
like, you
hints
know, I
about-
felt that way. Yeah.
I got hints about the hour mark.
Oh wow, yeah, you waited a really, really long time. Yeah, I knew about
Yeah,
PCA
I was-
real early. I was
well,
like,
I
well,
was- I think I got everything except for Payson and Azures. It was like, okay, I have nothing else to do. Let's go get hints.
Yeah, we actually totally forgot that you had not checked hints yet, because everything you were doing made total sense for the situation. It's like, well,
Yeah,
you knew the required
was-
X-ray was there.
I knew how was the logic of the first part, the first hour. Was like the game wanted me to do this. I didn't know about the missiles, but I sort of knew the logic behind everything until I finished Fendrana. That's where I was like, where do I go?
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was so worried Plasma was somewhere ridiculous, like on some random check somewhere that I hadn't checked. I was thinking
Yeah.
Tower of Light, like I was thinking, oh, like, you know, Crash Frigate. Like, goodness, we had Gravity Suit like so early. I was like, oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through friggin' Frigate. But no, it's all just
Nope.
right there.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I did manage to get the Root Cave exit from the first time on the game.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah. That was a ton of fun of these tournaments for me. I did got a accidental buy on the last week on the Swiss.
Yeah, I was
But
looking because you only did what, 3 races in the Swiss rounds or
4.
something? You did
4
4.
races.
Okay, you ended up doing 4.
Four out of
Gotcha.
5.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
but at the end, I am glad I did got the buy because I had a ton of family issues, personal matters that would have let me be able to do the races on that week.
Hey, that's great though.
So
Sometimes stuff works
it
out.
was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, for sure. That's great, man.
Yeah. So,
So
for
do you
me,
guys
probably
have?
for the rest of the
So-
term, might be able to help.
So, how does it feel like running these races without a mentor now?
I was like, I'll let you start first.
Yeah, probably different because now I was getting okay. Instead of I was thinking and then was okay. No, you shouldn't do this. Now what was it? Should I do this or should I do that? For what the hints. There was a point where I was thinking of doing hints about the 10-minute mark, but I decided, okay, let's go down the. Instead of going to the sheet, let's go down right and maybe do a bit of Magmore. And I got derailed all the way to Fenrun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, think of what to do next was a lot challenging, to be honest.
It is. It changes the whole game. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
when I played with my mentor, I did a lot of work with Nye, and in reality, I kind of I wouldn't say I let Nye do, you know, the routing and stuff. We still talked about stuff, and he taught me a lot along the way, saying, no, we should go here because of this. You know, and when you
Yeah.
jump into the brackets, there's no mentor. There's no one there to tell you kind of where to go, or even like kind of bounce the thought off of. You know, it's all
Yeah.
kind of on you. And there's this terrible dread that you get when you skip something. You know, like I skip Plasma. You know, and you just think, oh, is it there? Have I missed this? You know, and your decisions mean so much, and it's all you doing it at that point. You know, and
Yeah.
it really changes things. It's a lot more to think about the whole way through. You know, so. But other than that, and the nerves feel higher. It's just it's
Oh
so
yeah,
fun to have someone to just talk to while you're in there, one way or the other, even if you ride an
yeah.
elevator or something like that. So, but it's great. It really ups the stakes and it's fun. I'm glad
still do
I'm glad
remember
to continue on.
Yeah, go on. I still do remember the first race I did. It was like, I think it was a 30-minute mark. I was smiling, and there was a point of, why I'm smiling right now.
Mhm.
It was a ton of fun. Hopefully now I start doing more streaming and practicing more.
Yeah,
Even though I'm
doing
not.
more seeds helped. I was gonna say that too. After last week's bracket performance, I definitely went and I've ran like 3 seeds or so. Haven't quite finished them all, but at least checking spoiler log to see where the logic's going, because I feel like that's where my problems were. I worked a lot on mobility early on in the Swiss rounds, and but now I'm kind of working more on just really dialing in the logic for these settings
Yeah.
specifically. So
Yeah, that's never a bad idea. Also, so myself, Enrico, and chat had some input for both of you on various tricks that you did, hints, tips, stuff like that. So if
Sure.
you do rewatch your races, you'll learn a little bit here. And still, I mean, we can all still reach out to mentors at this stage if we find that we're struggling with any tricks or have questions and stuff. So like I'm a mentor. If you want to reach out to me for any practice sessions or anything like that, we could still do that.
Like so most of it's just routing though, and that's stuff you gotta be able to take care of. Not take care of on your own. Obviously, you can still learn a lot, but you're not gonna have someone there in the moment to help you sort it out. So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all like how I kept blowing what was that observatory? that was fun.
I was actually
I made the big dash like 3 or 4 times, like no problem, and just started flubbing the top because I got nervous. I started thinking about that missing plasma beam.
Yeah, we called back to your last race in Crossway. When you did the puzzle instead, we were like, okay, right. So you did keep doing the trick. You did it, the vanilla way, which at the Crossway situation was different because you couldn't do it the vanilla way. But we were questioning like, I wonder if he's having flashbacks right now.
A bit, yeah, a bit. That's why I just went ahead and did it vanilla. I was like, I've dumped enough time on this, and that was like the second, or that Crossway thing was the second time I've done something like that. I had like bombs in gravity chamber upper, and I sat there for like at least 5 minutes trying to do that trick to get up there, and I didn't know it, and I was trying to learn on the fly, and that's just ridiculous. There are things you know and things you don't know, and do the things you know in a race, and let go of the things that you don't. So it was all just nerves on the observatory dash. I've done that one a million times, but hey,
yeah,
it's racing for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you guys have any final remarks? Anything you want to say?
Thank you guys so much for doing some commentary on this. I'm so much looking forward to watching it back. Thank you, Op, for doing tracking. I certainly appreciate it. It is always awesome. You guys are all volunteers here, and that's great. We really appreciate it.
I just gonna say thank you for the computers up for your tracking the organizers of the tournament. To be honest, when the sign up was up, I was like, should I do it or not? Did it just for everyone who wants to do something and sees a chance, do it. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet new people.
You'll be back, I'm sure.
Community. Yeah,
it'll come back. It'll come back around.
Yeah, I know for many who didn't get the chance to do it right now, there might be a second edition, and I hope everyone.
Name one that comes up. Start racing the Saturdays. That's what I'm gonna do once. If I get knocked out, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you can always participate in weeklies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, guys, GG's chat. Follow the racers. They did a really good job here tonight, and they deserve your follows. You guys have a good night, and chat. We'll see you next mission.
See you next mission.